Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Glowing Card Gaming, and I am your host, Adam. Tonight, you can see we're back at it, picking Week 2 games. Um, also, as you can see, I've changed the way I am getting the information. Instead of just doing a search and letting the AI generate that, I've actually gone to ESPN Bet. Um, there's no promotion here. There's nothing that I'm doing that you know would allow them to pay me anything. Um, but it looks like a really decent way to um, do this. So everything's formatted really nice, and you know it's it looks good. So um, let's get into it today. As you can see, the game's going to start in about 15 minutes. Also, these headphones, these awesome lit headphones. This is what I wear when I play games on the PS5. I tried recording this a little earlier, and the headphones that I was wearing, I got a weird. I was about 5 minutes in, and I got some weird feedback that just popped in and started playing in my headset. So it was really annoying. So I went and grabbed these instead. Um, it's interesting because, like, I've listened to myself with those other little earbuds and these, um, and like also with just like the sound quality from the PC, it's so much bassier with these and the other ones. I sound really nasally and bad, and I didn't realize that um, before. So we'll just keep doing things with the headsets. Although I think I sound even better with the ones I put into the ear. Although those are the ones I used last time and I sounded pretty nasally. So anyway, enough of that. We're here to talk football, and tonight's matchup we have the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. Miami is favored by 2.5. I'm gonna go ahead and select the Miami Dolphins to win that by um, by 2.5. So they got to win by 3 for me to get the pick on that. I thought they just played better last week than the Bills did, just by. I think they got the spread pretty right on, but I think Miami's going to win it by a little bit more than 3. Um, Probably more like 7, somewhere in there. Next, we have the Indianapolis Colts at the Green Bay Packers, and I'm not sure why the Packers are underdogs. I think the home team is listed on the bottom. So they are. It's weird because they are favored. The Indianapolis Colts are favored by 3 going in to Green Bay, and I thought Green Bay played well last week. Um, so my pick's going to be the Green Bay Packers here. I'm not sure why. I'm not really sure why. They have Green Bay as underdogs. I think that Green Bay is going to win this. Granted, with the Colts, Green Bay is probably only going to win it by 3. So I think they have it just reversed. So we'll continue on down here. We have the New York Giants at the Washington Commanders. Almost said the old name. Because I'm an old sea dog and I'm salty and you know that's the way things are. Anyway, um, watching how these teams played last week, I feel like the Commanders are the better team. They both are really bad. They're going to be struggling to win 3 games this year. Well, one of these teams will struggle to win 3 games. The other one will win probably 4, and that team is going to be the Washington Commanders. They're going to win this. They're at home. Both teams were bad, but I think the Giants were really bad. So I think Washington probably walks away pretty handily with this by 7 or 10. Um, Not going to be an exciting game. You know, not not really sure. I think they might have the spread. I mean, I think Vegas knows what they're doing. So even when I say, like on the Colts here and the Packers, why do they have Green Bay at home as a 2.5 point underdog? Well, they've looked at the injury reports. They've analyzed pretty much every angle of the game. Probably know things that I don't know, and um, they are probably more accurate. Sorry if you're getting a little bit of the outside noise. I have the windows open here just so I can have some of the nice crisp air and have it be a little warmer today because it's usually pretty cold in this basement. So anyway, Commanders by 1.5, so they got to win by 2. I think they'll do that pretty easily. Now the Chargers at Panthers. I think this is an easy call. Chargers with Harbaugh at the helm have really proven they looked phenomenal against the Raiders. Carolina's no better. They're going to totally win this by 5 or more, probably more like 14. They're going to really crush them. Jets at Titans. I'm just moving on because this is almost a gimme. I mean, if you're going to take a lock of the week, of the century, um, this is the one. This is the Chargers are going to win this by 5 easily. This is the one. This is the lock. Um, moving forward, Jets Titans. Now, Jets didn't look as good as I thought they were last week, so they do have kind of that step down. But Tennessee, also not looking all that great. Titans are at home, but yeah, it's tough. It's a tough call. I I actually think I don't know enough about the Jets, unfortunately, and the way Aaron Rodgers. I mean, ESPN or uh, Monday Night Football had a perfect view of Rodgers sitting on the ground and just this face of frustration, unbelief, almost an amazed, disgusted look simultaneously. And one of somebody who's been in the game far too long and maybe is thinking about retirement, like why am I even here kind of face. And so I wonder if that's playing into the back of his mind. I mean, it was like really telling to me. So I don't think the Jets are going to beat the Titans. I think the Titans are actually going to win this game, and if you give me 3.5 on top of that, I'm going to take it. Uh, the Niners at the Vikings. Um, I can't remember who the Vikings played last week to uh, get that um, win, but the Niners are really that good, and I don't think the Vikings are that good. I think the Niners win this by a touchdown. Sure, even at Minnesota. Unless it snows this week for some reason, then Minnesota might have a chance. So we'll see what happens. The Saints at Dallas. Now, with all the crap I talked last week about Jerry Jones not being able to run a team and not be the GM, he's the owner and he should be the owner and he should not be the GM. Um, he should not run the team. He shouldn't tell them how to run the team day to day. Shouldn't call the plays. Shouldn't do all of that. But he's the owner. He can do whatever he wants. And they came away last week looking very dominant. So with the Saints, I mean the Saints won. Um, I don't know. I thought the Saints looked actually fairly good last week. Didn't they win I can't. I should have the scores pulled up on a different page, but I don't. Um, I am going to. They're at Dallas. This is a tougher call. I think this is going to be closer than 6 points. The Cowboys might win this, but I think they only win it by 1 to 3 points. I'm going to go with the Saints on that. I don't think the Saints are going to win it, but I don't think they're going to lose by more than a touchdown. Really, is what we're saying here. So I'm going to go with the Saints. And here's kind of a surprise that the Pats are as close to the Hawks as they are. Um, Although that was the one game I watched beginning to end last week was, of course, the Denver Broncos, as you can see in the sign behind me, um, against the Seattle Seahawks. And I didn't think Seattle looked that great. I think Denver should have won the game if they had let Bo Nix uh, play a little freer and just do his thing. I think Denver wins that game. A little bit better play calling too. Hitting those slants over the middle is something Bo can do, and I don't think they utilized that enough. Going to the outside, they had those outside safeties hitting, and I think they had a good game plan on defense. Um, offense, offense was horrible. Fortunately, they're playing the New England Patriots this week, who are awful as well. So everything I just said against the Seahawks, you can almost double that. Who did the Patriots beat last week? Man, I really need to have the scores up. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. I'm not gonna pull them up now in the middle of the the podcast here. That's just not gonna happen. Next time I will probably have the scores on a different page. That way I can reference those simultaneously and say, oh, last week they played so and so, they won by whatever. I haven't done my recap yet, but I wanted to get this started and out there before they started the game tonight. Um, yeah, we're gonna go with the Seahawks here over the Patriots by 3.5. I think the Patriots are not that good. I think they're really bad, and as bad as the Seahawks are, even I think they come away with a bigger win this week. And Seattle's going to go to 2-0. It's going to be a false 2-0. They're going to look really good on paper, um, but I don't think they win many games after tonight, or not tonight, but this weekend. Moving on, we have the Cleveland Browns at the Jacksonville Jaguars. These are the toughest calls, all of these games, because I feel like the matchups this week are between teams that play at the same level for the most part. I think the Browns and the Jaguars are both equally as bad. They're just both really horrible teams. Cleveland's going to Jacksonville. I think I'm going to give it to the hometown. -3. I'm going to go with Jacksonville here. Oh, here. Wow, what a a spread. The Raiders 9-point underdogs at the Baltimore Ravens. What is happening here? Um, this is so strange. That I don't know. It's just weird that they're that big of underdogs. But I watched the Chargers play them last week. At least some of the highlights and stuff. And the Raiders, they looked good for about the first 10 minutes of the game. And then after that, it was all Chargers. So I think the Chargers, that's why I think Chargers are really good with Harbaugh. But they did play the Raiders, and the Raiders are so bad. Does Baltimore cover 9 points? That's the real question. 9 is a lot. Um, but I picked against the spread last year on games that were even wider of a margin, 14 to 16 points, and they still had it pretty right on with the winner. winning by 17 or even 21 points. So they may have this one pegged. Ravens not that great, but the Raiders are. They might be the worst team in football right now. So I'm gonna give it to the. I'm gonna give it to Baltimore to cover that 9. That's a tough one, but I think they're gonna do it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. The Lions are favored by 7.5 at home. They're at home. The Lions are really good. I'm still not sure about the Bucks and some of these other teams. I don't know enough. I haven't watched enough. I don't have enough data. Um, but it and the Bucks did win last week. So does that mean Detroit's going to win, but not by 7.5, or they're going to crush them, or what does that look like? Personally, I think the Detroit Lions might be Super Bowl contenders. Um, no, in fact, they are Super Bowl contenders. It's not a might. They're going to be Super Bowl contenders. They're going to win a lot of games this year. They're probably going to lose at least one they should win, and then win one they probably should lose. Like maybe against the Niners they pick up a win, and then maybe against Tampa Bay they lose. Who knows? Um, tough to call. I mean, I think they've done pretty good in putting the lines on this week. Um, boy, it's 7.5 is tough with these two teams. We'll go we'll go with the home team. We'll give it to the Lions. I mean, we're kind of flipping coins here, and maybe guessing a little bit more than I should be. Rams at Cardinals. I think this is probably another one of those. They have it pretty much as a coin toss, and I can't say I disagree with that, but I'm going to give it to Arizona at home. The home team always has a little bit more of an advantage, so I think that could be right on par with it. Now this next one, being that I'm going to watch the Broncos Steelers because that that sign behind me, well, this that hand, it's reversed in my thing. Anyway. Um, so being a fan, I don't want that to sway my feelings or thoughts on this. So I really have to think about this and analyze it. Pittsburgh did a great job last week. Russell Wilson is not the starting quarterback. If Russell Wilson were the starting quarterback, I could tell you this is probably a lock for Denver. I think Denver wins this one walking away. I mean, really, I don't see if Russell Wilson were the starter for the Steelers, I think that Denver wins this game. But I think they are playing Bo Nix too tight right now. They got too much of the reins on him. They need to let him loose. They need to let him go, make those mistakes, throw those interceptions, and after about week 4 of doing that, he's really going to pick it up. I think he learns fast, and he's going to be probably a Hall of Fame quarterback. You got to let him play it out, though, and the sooner you get there, the better. Um, they really held him in check and really held him tight there. So if they do that again this week, the Steelers win by more than that 2.5. The the real question is, how is the coach going to play Nix this week? If he lets him a little freer, run around a little bit more, I think Denver wins this. Um, but I can't I can't let my feelings sway my judgment here. I like Sean Payton, but I think he's not quite doing Bo Nix properly or justice here. He needs to let Bo Nix go out and just run around a bit, throw the ball around, be loose, be a gunslinger, try and implement that run game a little bit better. It was working pretty well, and they kind of got away from it a little bit. Um, so I think that led to the loss. If they can correct some of those things, I think Bo Nix played well for the most part, and I think he's going to get there, and he's going to learn from those mistakes and not make them more than one more time. Sometimes you need two or three uh, mistakes of the exact same kind before you're like your brain finally switches into gear and says, "Oh, I can't be doing that." So all of that being said, and not being swayed, and thinking they are going to hold back Bo Nix again, I am going to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the Denver Broncos by more than 2.5. Um, and we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bengals laid a huge egg last week and showed that they just were not very good. Chiefs looking to three-peat. Seems like they kept most of the team around in the area that or on the team that could get them to that three-peat. Um, Now, with the Chargers in the mix and the Chargers doing as well as they are, I'm not sure Kansas City wins the AFC West this year, but they're going to win and beat Cincinnati on Sunday. They're going to whoop some butt on that. No, I don't. I don't. I think it's definitely more like 10-point win by Kansas City on Sunday against the Bengals, the Bungles, whatever you want to call them. Then we got the Bears at the Houston Texans, and again, Houston. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but they're definitely going to make the playoffs, and they might win the AFC South. And the Bears, I don't know. I think the Bears are better than 6.5-point underdogs. They're at Houston. So really, I think this is not an easy call, but I just don't think Houston's going to win by more than 4. So that's why I'm going to take Chicago. I think Houston wins it, but I think Chicago um, keeps it a little closer than that. Watch Chicago actually win it. Um, you never know what'll happen. That's why they play the games. And that's why we're picking against the spread, because you just don't know what'll happen. I mean, if I were picking win-loss, some of these would be slightly different, but they'd all, I mean, I would be nailing probably out of the 16 games, I'd probably get at least 10, 11 of them. So now it's become a lot more difficult. I may only get 5 of these, may only get 7. Who knows? But it's a lot harder to call when you're doing it this way. The Atlanta Falcons at the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia is definitely a Super Bowl contender, along with the Niners and the Lions in the NFC. It's going to be one of those 3 teams, I think, in the Super Bowl for the AFC. If I had to guess, out of those 3 teams, who would go to the Super Bowl or even win it? That's a tougher one. Um, I think it really is more between the Lions and the Eagles. All that being said, and I think the Lions may just out edge the Eagles um, to get to the Super Bowl. We'll see by the end of the year. So we'll find all of that out. Um, we have Falcons and the Eagles, and the Eagles by 6.5. I think they probably do win it by a touchdown. I think they have that pretty close though. The Falcons are. I don't think they played that well last week, so the Eagles could actually win it by 10. Um, I think they do win it by 6.5. So there you have it for week 2. We are done. We are through the picks. Um, And we've done it once again. Congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. You made it to the end of the video. All right. Once again, thank you for watching me, Adam, on Glowing Card Gaming. And as always, be good to each other. I'll see you next time.